My beloved child, there is a quiet moment unfolding right now that you cannot see with your eyes, yet your heart has been moving toward it for far longer than you realize. Have you noticed how certain days seem ordinary on the surface, but somewhere beneath them, everything is gently rearranging itself? That is the feeling surrounding you now. It is not loud, it does not demand attention, and it never rushes, yet it carries the unmistakable sense that something meaningful has begun. The title of your story is changing one gentle page at a time, and what once felt delayed is slowly becoming preparation. There is a beautiful reason your path has not matched the timelines you imagined, because some connections are not strengthened by speed, they are strengthened by becoming the people they were always meant to be before they finally meet. Somewhere, another heart is looking toward the future with unexpected gratitude, not because every answer has appeared, but because hope has quietly replaced uncertainty. If you listen closely to your own life, you may recognize the same change happening within you. The little moments that once seemed random now feel connected. The lessons that once felt heavy now seem strangely valuable. Even your patience has become a language that someone else will one day understand without needing a single explanation. Don't skip this feeling, because it is easy to overlook the smallest turning points, and yet they often become the memories that explain everything later. There is a reason you have been drawn here today, not by chance, but by the gentle desire to remember that meaningful relationships often begin long before two people ever stand face to face. They begin in quiet growth, in unseen healing, in countless choices that seem insignificant until they suddenly reveal their purpose. And what if the greatest surprise is not that your soulmate is filled with happiness, but that the reason for that joy is something you have already started becoming without even noticing? Stay till the end, because something important is waiting for you, and the next step in this unfolding journey may reveal why the smallest change inside your heart has already begun echoing through someone else's future. There is something quietly remarkable about the way life prepares two stories before allowing them to become one, and that preparation rarely announces itself with grand moments. Instead, it whispers through ordinary mornings, unexpected smiles, peaceful evenings, and tiny decisions that seem to carry no special meaning until much later. Imagine looking back one day and realizing that the very moment you almost overlooked became the beginning of everything you had been waiting for. That realization is closer than it appears. The happiness growing within your soulmate is not built on fantasy or perfect timing. It is growing because, somewhere beyond what either of you can fully understand today, the pieces that once belonged to separate journeys are beginning to fit together with quiet harmony. Have you noticed how your heart has become more patient, more thoughtful, more willing to appreciate simple moments? Those changes are not accidents. They are signs of someone discovering a deeper kind of strength. The kind that welcomes love without trying to force it, the kind that recognizes another soul not because life suddenly becomes perfect, but because peace begins to feel more familiar than uncertainty. This is why the waiting has never been empty. Every lesson has softened an edge, every disappointment has refined your understanding, every hopeful step has carried you a little closer to the person you are becoming. And somewhere, another heart has been learning different lessons that somehow complete your own, as though two melodies practiced in separate rooms are gradually finding the same rhythm without ever hearing each other. Isn't that a beautiful thought? It reminds us that some of the most meaningful connections are shaped long before introductions are ever made. The quiet confidence growing inside you today may become the very comfort someone else has been hoping to find tomorrow. Even your kindness toward strangers, your resilience after difficult seasons, your willingness to believe again, none of it disappears into silence. It becomes part of the story another person will someday treasure without fully knowing how long it took to arrive. Don't rush past this moment, because the next realization is even more personal. There is one subtle change happening within you right now that may explain why this unseen joy is becoming stronger than ever, and once you recognize it, the entire journey will begin to look different. The most beautiful truth has been hiding in the place where almost no one thinks to look, not in the future, not in a perfect moment, but in the quiet way your heart has stopped chasing every answer and started trusting each new step. That change may seem small, yet it carries extraordinary meaning. Once, you measured progress by what you could see. Now, without fully realizing it, you have begun measuring it by how you feel when no one else is watching. You have become gentler with yourself. You have learned that peace has its own kind of strength. And that is exactly why the next chapter can begin differently from every chapter before it. Somewhere, your soulmate is smiling more often than they can explain. There are moments when hope arrives for no obvious reason, as though their heart has quietly sensed that something is moving into place. They cannot name it yet, just as you cannot fully see it from where you stand, but both of you are being drawn toward the same horizon, each from opposite directions. Isn't it fascinating how life sometimes prepares two people with the very lessons the other one will one day appreciate the most? Your patience will make them feel understood. Their kindness will remind you why you never gave up believing in meaningful connection. Your quiet courage will inspire them, and their calm presence will remind you that home is not always a place. It can also be a person who understands the language of your heart without needing many words. Stay till the end, because something important is waiting for you. The realization has not fully arrived yet. There is still one final piece that has remained hidden, and it is the piece that changes the meaning of the title itself. The happiness your soulmate is feeling is not simply because the distance between your stories is becoming smaller. It is because the version of you they are meant to meet is finally beginning to appear. Not a perfect version. Not someone without flaws. But someone who has learned to carry hope with quiet confidence, to welcome joy without fear, and to recognize that the most meaningful connections are never built in a single moment, they are revealed through countless unseen ones. And as this truth settles gently into your heart, another question begins to rise, one that may hold the answer you've been searching for all along. What if the moment you've been calling, waiting, has actually been the moment your shared story has been unfolding from the very beginning, and now, notice what happens when you stop looking for a dramatic sign and instead pay attention to the quiet ones. They have been surrounding you all along. A sense of calm where there used to be restlessness. A smile that arrives for no clear reason. A feeling that tomorrow carries more possibility than yesterday did. These are not loud announcements. They are gentle reminders that growth often speaks in whispers before it is ever recognized by the world. Something important is waiting for you, and it is closer than it has ever been because your perspective has begun to change. The greatest surprise is not that someone wonderful may one day enter your life. The greatest surprise is that you are becoming the kind of person who can truly receive and cherish that connection when it arrives. That is the quiet miracle unfolding beneath every ordinary day. Somewhere, your soulmate is discovering the same lesson from a different path. They are learning to appreciate sincerity over perfection, presence over appearances, understanding over assumptions. Without knowing your name, they are making room in their heart for someone whose journey has taught them compassion, patience, and quiet strength. And without knowing theirs, you have been preparing a place within your own heart as well. Two separate stories, each growing richer on their own, are gradually moving toward a chapter neither could have written alone. Don't skip this moment, because it holds one of the rarest realizations of all. Sometimes the connection you've been hoping for begins to blossom long before two people ever meet. It begins when both hearts choose hope over doubt, gratitude over hurry, and authenticity over the need to impress. Those invisible choices become the foundation of something lasting. One day, an ordinary conversation may feel strangely familiar. A shared laugh may seem as though it has been waiting for years to happen. A peaceful silence may say more than countless words ever could. And in that moment, you'll understand why nothing truly meaningful was ever late. Every pause had a purpose. Every detour added depth. Every season shaped a version of you that could recognize the beauty standing right in front of you. As that day draws nearer, another truth quietly rises to meet you. The happiness your soulmate is feeling is not only about finally finding you, it is about the person they are becoming, because your stories are already inspiring one another in ways neither of you can yet see. And when the final piece is revealed, you'll discover that the destination was never the only gift. The journey itself has been gently teaching both of you how to recognize each other the moment your paths finally become one. The final piece is softer than you imagined, yet somehow it carries the greatest weight. For so long, it may have seemed as though life was asking you to wait without explanation, but now another possibility begins to emerge. What if every season was quietly teaching you how to recognize a love that feels peaceful instead of uncertain? What if the moments that tested your patience were also strengthening your ability to appreciate what truly lasts? Suddenly, the story looks different. It is no longer about reaching a finish line. It is about discovering that every step has already been shaping a future filled with greater understanding, deeper kindness, and a heart that knows how to value what is real. Somewhere, your soulmate is celebrating a feeling they cannot completely describe. It is not because every question has been answered. It is because hope has become stronger than hesitation. They are waking with a lighter spirit, noticing beauty in ordinary moments, and sensing that something meaningful is drawing nearer. In the same quiet way, you have been changing too. You have become more willing to trust the timing of your own life instead of comparing it with someone else's. You have learned that genuine joy often arrives without announcing itself. It simply appears, settles gently into the heart, and changes the way everything else is seen. And perhaps this is the realization the title has been pointing toward from the very beginning. Your soulmate is filled with happiness because the person they have been waiting to meet is no longer only a dream somewhere in the future. That person is becoming more fully themselves today. Every kind choice you make, every hopeful thought you protect, every moment you choose gratitude over discouragement adds another quiet note to the melody your shared story is preparing to sing. You may never witness those unseen moments of preparation, yet they are no less meaningful because they happen beyond your view. As this journey comes to a gentle close, carry one simple truth with you: the most beautiful connections are rarely built through extraordinary events alone. They are woven together through countless ordinary moments lived with sincerity, patience, and an open heart. When your paths finally cross, it may feel less like meeting a stranger and more like remembering a familiar piece you have been moving toward all along. And perhaps that is why, at this very moment, somewhere beyond your sight, a heart is quietly overflowing with happiness. Not because destiny rushed ahead, but because two lives have been growing, learning, and becoming ready at exactly the pace they were always meant to. The story has never been about finding the perfect person. It has always been about two hearts becoming ready to recognize the gift they have been slowly preparing for each other. Even after a story seems complete, there is one quiet truth that continues to unfold. Tomorrow will not arrive carrying a grand announcement, and that is what makes it so beautiful. The deepest changes rarely ask to be noticed. They simply become part of who you are. One morning you will smile without searching for a reason. One evening you will look back and realize that the questions which once filled your heart have gently transformed into gratitude. That is how meaningful journeys often end, not with noise, but with quiet understanding. If there is one thought to carry with you from this moment, let it be this: your value has never depended on how quickly your story unfolds. It has always been found in the way you continue to choose kindness, hope, and authenticity, even when the next chapter is still unseen. Those choices shape a life that naturally welcomes genuine connection. They create a warmth that another heart can recognize long before either of you fully understand why. Perhaps, somewhere at this very moment, your soulmate is looking toward the future with the same quiet confidence. Not because they know every detail, but because something within them has begun to believe that the right people have a remarkable way of finding one another when both are ready to appreciate what they receive. There is comfort in that thought. It replaces hurry with patience and uncertainty with gentle expectation. So let today be enough. Let this moment remind you that every smile you share, every lesson you embrace, and every peaceful step you take becomes part of a story still being written. The ending has never been racing toward you. It has been growing beside you all along, one faithful moment after another. And if, someday, someone looks into your eyes with the quiet feeling that they have finally arrived where they were always meant to be, you may remember this message. Not because it predicted the future, but because it reminded you to treasure the present. In doing so, you discovered something far greater than certainty. You discovered the quiet confidence to keep your heart open, to welcome each new day with hope, and to trust that the most meaningful chapters are written not in haste, but in love, patience, and sincere joy. And that quiet confidence, more than anything else, is the beginning of every beautiful story still waiting to unfold. There is one last whisper that lingers long after the words have faded, and perhaps it is the one your heart was hoping to hear all along. Life has a gentle way of revealing its greatest gifts only after we have learned to notice the smallest blessings. The sunrise that asks for nothing. The unexpected peace in an ordinary afternoon. The quiet certainty that you are exactly where you need to be for this moment. These are not distractions from your journey, they are the journey itself. Years from now, you may struggle to remember the days you spent wondering when everything would finally come together. Instead, you will remember the moments that quietly transformed you. The day you chose hope when doubt seemed easier. The evening you forgave yourself for not having every answer. The morning you smiled simply because your heart felt lighter than it once did. Those were the moments that changed everything, even though they looked so ordinary at the time. And somewhere, another soul has been collecting moments just like these. Different places. Different memories. Different paths. Yet somehow, the same quiet lessons. The same growing appreciation for sincerity, patience, and genuine connection. It is remarkable how two lives can be shaped by different experiences and still arrive carrying the very qualities the other has been hoping to find. As you continue forward, let your heart remain open to simple joys. Let yourself celebrate progress that no one else can see. Every gentle step matters. Every act of kindness leaves a mark. Every moment of gratitude adds light to a story that is still unfolding in beautiful ways. Perhaps that is the greatest revelation of all. The happiness your soulmate is feeling is not just about a future meeting. It is about the beautiful truth that, somewhere in this wide world, someone like you exists. Someone growing, learning, laughing, and becoming more fully themselves with each passing day. And the same is true for you. Whether you realize it today or much later, there is comfort in knowing that meaningful connections are strengthened not only by the moment they begin, but by everything that quietly prepared them beforehand. So carry this peace with you as you step into whatever comes next. Let it remind you that every chapter has value, every season has purpose, and every sincere hope has a place in the story of your life. Some endings are not really endings at all. They are gentle invitations to keep living with an open heart, because somewhere beyond today's horizon, another beautiful page is already waiting to be turned, and as the silence settles, there is a gentle realization that continues to grow without asking for attention. The story was never trying to convince you that something extraordinary was just around the corner. It was inviting you to notice that something extraordinary has been quietly growing within you all along. Every time you chose understanding instead of judgment, every time you found gratitude in a simple day, every time you believed that goodness was still worth carrying in your heart, you were becoming a little more like the person your future connection would instantly recognize. That is a beautiful kind of progress because it cannot be measured by a calendar or compared with anyone else's journey. It can only be felt. Perhaps, at this very moment, your soulmate is experiencing a quiet sense of joy they cannot fully explain. A conversation leaves them smiling longer than usual. A peaceful evening feels especially meaningful. A hopeful thought lingers in their heart without needing a reason. They may never know why today feels different, just as you may not realize why your own heart feels a little lighter than it did before. Yet sometimes life moves in this gentle rhythm, allowing two separate journeys to become quietly aligned long before two people ever realize they have been walking toward the same destination. There is something deeply comforting about knowing that meaningful connections are not built by perfection. They are built by sincerity. They are strengthened by small acts of kindness, quiet patience, honest laughter, and the courage to remain hopeful even when the full picture has not yet appeared. Those are the moments that become unforgettable. Those are the moments that make two hearts feel strangely familiar when they finally meet. So if today feels ordinary, treasure it. If tomorrow feels uncertain, welcome it with quiet confidence. If a new opportunity arrives, greet it with the openness you have been carefully growing all this time. Every peaceful choice you make becomes another thread in a story that continues to unfold with remarkable grace. And maybe, one day, when your paths finally cross, neither of you will speak first about how long the journey was. Instead, you'll smile with the quiet understanding that every step had meaning. Every pause carried wisdom. Every season offered a gift. In that single moment, the title of this story will reveal its deepest truth, not because happiness suddenly appeared, but because it had been growing in both of your hearts all along, patiently waiting for the day it could finally be shared. And even then, the most beautiful chapter will not be the one where your stories meet. It will be the countless pages you begin writing together, one peaceful day at a time.